Imagine you're scrolling through your Instagram account. You're reading the comments on other people's posts, you're paying way too much attention to how many likes they get, and you're looking at the flawless perfection that they show in their photos. As you're doing this, you begin to feel increasingly inferior and envious of them. Does this sound familiar to you? Not that I believe all teenagers should not have phones or social media at all, but I do believe it's important that we acknowledge the effects social media can have and that these platforms are causing an increase in teenage depression. According to Woods' 2016, those who were more emotionally invested in social media experienced poorer sleep quality, lower self-esteem, and increased levels of anxiety and depression. You may be saying to yourself, I never feel jealous of people on social media, or I never get on social media at all anyway. However, the majority of us as teenagers, or today, have felt jealous of people on social media in the past, or have at least spent a good portion of our day on social media. Being able to acknowledge these effects that social media has on teenagers can be the difference between helping them through their insecurities or even making them worse for them. The first thing I'd like to start with is the physical effects that social media can have on teens. Constantly seeing images of people with the perfect smile, the perfect hair, or the perfect body gives adolescents a negative self-image, and because they can't live up to the standards placed on them by social media accounts. Social networks play a big role in the relationship between people and eating disorders. People that spend more time on social media develop bigger problems with eating habits. According to Lee 2015, there's a small percentage of men that have developed these body dissatisfaction problems due to social media. However, the percentage of women that develop these problems with their bodies is much higher. However, the social media can be a collaborative space for teens to express themselves, and not every teen develops body issues and depression that's linked to social media. Your social media usage can be largely influenced by how you view other people in relation to yourself and your confidence level. After all, self-image affects mood, and if you have a negative self-image, you're more likely to become depressed due to social media. Although the physical effect social media has on teens is important, one cannot forget to acknowledge the psychological effects it can also have. When acknowledging the psychological effects social media has, there are 4 key components: increased anxiety and depression, lower self-esteem, and poor sleep quality. Teens that spent more time on social media and were more emotionally invested got less sleep and slept much worse than those who didn't spend a lot of time online. According to Woods' 2016, teens that had poor sleep quality also had a habit of using their phones and social media right before they went to sleep in their bed. Because social media affects sleep quality, it impacts teenagers' well-being and increases their depression levels. Social media usage also had a link to teenage anxiety. So next time you're on social media, take time to see and to reflect and see if that's what's causing you to feel more anxious and more depressed than your normal mood. Sleep and anxiety are not the only things that teens suffer from due to social media. Teens also suffer from lower self-esteem because of this. When teens don't get enough sleep due to social media use before bed, it also contributes to lower self-esteem issues, and getting bad sleep alters your mood. Looking at pictures of perfect people adds to teens having lower self-esteem as well. Teens with a bigger emotional investment in social media and that spend more time on it causes teens to have even higher levels of depression and anxiety because they begin to believe that they should live their life based on what they see on other people's social media accounts. Finally, after acknowledging the physical and psychological effects social media can have on teens and depression, we get to see where social media affects teens based on the habits that they develop. Social media usage during teenage years is linked to many negative outcomes that result from depression, such as conduct problems and heavy drinking. And according to Brunberg 2016, social media also affects teens' relationships with their peers and their significant others in a negative way due to their increased insecurity levels. Social media leads to heavy drinking because they see this behavior online with their friends and they start to believe that it's the cool thing and that they should be doing it too. This increased depression and lowered self-esteem caused by social media also results in heavy drinking. Imagine you're still a teenager looking through your social media and seeing photos of other people living their best life, drinking, out partying, and you're at home feeling lonely and depressed. You're looking for an escape, so you turn to alcohol to numb the pain just like your friends, and this is why social media causes depression and drinking issues in teenagers. Almost every teenager nowadays has social media accounts and constantly has their phones in their hands, not paying attention to the world around them, but to the world that their phones portray to them. Teenagers struggle to see the difference between reality and this fantasy world that social media creates. The unrealistic expectations that aren't obtainable to any normal teenager creates bad habits, it makes teens feel lonely, and it causes depression. According to Silva 2018, as you can see from the information presented here, there are many reasons that social media causes teenage depression. In fact, it's important that we acknowledge the effect social media has on teens, and that these platforms are causing the increase in these depression issues. So when you have a teenager someday, or you see a teenager feeling insecure because of social media, you can remember this speech and you can try to help them through their depression. And if you're lucky, people will actually start to post the reality of their lives and their appearances on social media to show teenagers that they don't have to feel insecure about the way they look in themselves.